Or creating an equivalent fraction. So on page 1 we talked about creating the equivalent fraction, and the one that we used was in its simplest form, 3/5. So we had to multiply it to create an equivalent fraction. So with this one, it's which one do we do? Do we multiply or divide? Well, you multiply to make equivalent fractions if the fraction is in its simplest form. Well, remember those prime and composite numbers we learned a couple of lessons back? Well, this is where this is going to come in very handy. 2 is a prime number and 3 is a prime number. So when they're in their prime number form, or their prime numbers, their simplest form, they can't get any smaller. So that's when you multiply a number by the same number. So we're going to take 2/3, and to create an equivalent fraction, we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by 2. Remember, whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. And that creates the equivalent fraction of 4/6. Okay? So you multiply to create an equivalent fraction when it's in your simplest form. Okay? When it's a prime. Now, you can divide also to make equivalent fractions if it's not in its simplest form. So if we're making it smaller, then we can look at 10/12. Okay? It's not in its simplest form. From our prime and composite lessons, we know that 10 has factors and 12 has factors other than itself and 1. So what do they have in common? Well, we can use 2. And this is a division sign. It doesn't look real great, but it's a division. Actually, that's multiplication. But we can divide both of these by 2. Okay, so here's our problem, 10/12. If we divide the 10 by 2 and the 12 by 2, we ended up with the fraction 5/6, which is in its simplest form. Okay, because 5 is a prime, remember. 6 is not a prime, but 5 is a prime. So we're dividing both the 10 and the 12 by 2 to create its simplest form. So this is factors are back. Factors never go away. Okay, so look at the factors in common. They both can be factored by 2. Okay, so this is what this is showing. We see that both of them have a 2 in common. So again, we divide that by 2 and we end up with an equivalent fraction in its simplest form of 5/6. Okay? And that concludes our notes. We'll be talking more about fractions on tomorrow. So make sure you get your notes down, make them nice and neat, and we'll see you tomorrow.